Hey, it's Don, the Auction Professor. Today is Sunday, so we are going to do another What's Sold on eBay. As usual, I just picked some random items. I tried to mix it up a little bit. I've included some records and things along that line because I've had questions on that a lot, on what type of records we sell and, you know, the values and things like that. So we're going to go over the screen and we're going to show you some items that we sold. Okay, so the first item here, again, I just picked some random items. You know, this is just a small portion from their one store. So the first item here is a just costume jewelry piece. It's got a race horses on it. Nothing fancy, nothing special. I paid $1 for it. You know, literally from a picker. It doesn't look like much. It's probably even missing a stone if you see up there at the top. Maybe not. Maybe that's just the moon or something. But I took 50. Yeah, I even wrote missing stone if you can see it there on the condition. I took $15 for it. So again, I only paid $1. So for $15, I made a real good profit on it. The buyer again pays shipping. So again, I have nothing to worry about in shipping fees or anything like that. Well over 80% profit as always. Let's move on to the next one. Record-wise. Now this was up for maybe 3 weeks at the very most. This is the Gentry's. It's a garage rock. You got to know something or be able to look this up. Most of these you can find on, you know, Pop Psych or one of the other ones. This is Penthouse Records too. So Penthouse, knowing Penthouse, their brands, most record companies have, you know, their name brand. And then they also press records under different names as well to try and diversify their market as well too. Some will post, you know, only soul songs on one named label like Youngstown and things along that line. So again, Penthouse does publish this. It's not the magazine Penthouse. It's a different one. It's a record company name. But this one sold for just around $37, just a hair under $37. You know, I put these up higher than, you know, I've marked them down. I play around with the figures. I've got a ton of records, and I mean a ton. So, you know, I pay $1 for them, so I'm taking $36. I'm not going to worry about it. Average price is like 25 or so bucks anyway. So let's move on. Postcard, this one was up for like 3 hours. The cat Christmas ones always seem to sell, especially if they're nice like this and embossed. You can see the full design here, nicely embossed all the way around. Again, $1 postcard or less. This one was less because it's not nothing any fancy. I probably bought this one in a bulk lot if I'm not mistaken, so probably got like a quarter or less into it. So, you know, good $10 profit right off the bat. Another postcard. This one I took right at $50 I got out of this one here. It's got some issues. Had it not been worn in the corners and all, it probably would have went for a little more. All these California raisin and wine or in general, just basic, you know, advertisements for California products sells very well. This has got a fairy on it. It's got some Oxford University ties to it. It's a good item. Again, almost $50 on this one. This one, I do believe I did pay $1 for this one itself. This one's $1 I paid. Now, I'll buy these kind, even, it's got a little damage up there on the top, as you see on the right, that white spots, but I still sold it immediately for $18.50. I mean, right off the bat, just because of how cute it is. I can't remember the name of the artist on this one. It's somebody everybody should know, and my brain slips on that one right there. But anyway, it's a good one here. It's well marked, well done, and in good condition other than those few spots. But $18.50. Next one, another record. This one did sell for $27.60. I put it on sale. It was up for just a little while, 2 or 3 months. And again, I blow out the records sometimes because I got 50 cents into each one of these because of the condition. People didn't think much of it, but they're still in good condition. The labels might be worn, but the records themselves play fine. So, you know, $27.60. I've got $1 into both of them. Greater than 80% profit margin as well here too. So anyway. Another one of these. Now I show these quite often. This one went for full price, $24.50. And I've talked about this before. Don't ever use these as auction. I never put these as auction anymore. I do so much better across the board constantly. I sell a couple of these every week since I switched off the auction thought on these. I don't do any auctions on these cylinder discs. No matter what they are, I don't do auctions on them. So anyway. Another one of these. It did sell for $31.99. Again, I put stuff on sale because I've got them marked up fairly high. Average price on all these photos, and it's even trimmed on the bottom, is about $8-10. I get 20 to 30 on average. Let's move on to the next one. Postcard. I took 18. Now I purchased like 100 and some of these military World War I postcards for around $60, I believe. And I average 20 to 60 or 70 a piece on these. We've made 500 or 600 just on this one purchase, and I still sell them. I sell a couple of these every week as well too, since I listed them. So this was an older list, but I've been selling them fairly steadily. So anyway, $18. I've got less than $1 into it. I believe I showed this one in a haul too. I've had them all. This one went $17.50 it sold for, and it went to England, and someone paid about that much to have it shipped on top of it. So again, these do sell. They do sell well. It's got clothing on her, so you know it's Kate Jackson, Sabrina. Next item, another Glenn Miller. Now, I've talked about Glenn Miller. The Chattanooga Choo Choo by Glenn Miller I always sell as well, too. I sold 2 copies of this just this week. I sold one on Amazon and then one here on eBay as well, too. I think I've got one more left. I look for Glenn Miller, and I've talked about In the Mood's a good one. Chattanooga Choo Choo's a good one. There's many stuff like this that are worth some good money. You just have to pay attention and know at least enough to grade them properly. You know, so $30 for this one, I can't complain. Average price, 15 to $20, so I took 30. Paper dolls, and I've talked about these. We get these all the time. This is a nice little lot. All the same kind of dolls, all from the same series and set. 2 look to be identical even on top of it. It's from a coffee company. McLaughlin's Coffee. It's a fairly well-known coffee company. They might even still be in business. They're printed on the back. This was from a doll collector's estate. I bought hundreds of paper dolls. Not just these. I've sold some Annette Funicello and you know, Dorothy L'Amour and things like that. Clark Gable ones. I bought hundreds of paper dolls in sets from this person. So I've been cranking them out and making some decent money every week since I listed some. Next one here, these are some like trade cards for a actress. They're not in super condition. They've got some wear issues, but I took 75 on them. It's a specific stage performance, and it's actually an invitation to show up at the show. So again, $75 for 2 of these cards. The other one's right there. So again, that was a pretty good deal. I've got maybe $5 into like 20 of these I bought at a estate sale. Again, they're in not great condition. You can see some damage there, but they're scarce. Well, it's a real photo on the fronts of these. As you can see, a real photo of this actress. So, again, that's what I look for on stuff like this. And these show up in tobacco collections. That's exactly where I got this. I bought a bunch of tobacco cards at another estate, and I scored on it. I bought everything related to it. This was the same size as the tobacco card. So that's what I look for, and that's where you find these type of items as well, too. Person probably bought them in a lot, didn't know it wasn't tobacco until he got home, and then boom, they're selling them. Here's just a vintage, like a greeting card. It's a tri-fold card. It folds into 3s. You'd write whatever you want on the inside, or you could have it printed off. This is a printer's sample, basically. Very bright, odd colors for the ear, but it's most definitely what it is. I sold this, I want to say it was $37.50. So anyway, it's a good price on that one. Here's another record. This one I sold for $225. It's the New Holidays. Now, this is Soulhawk. You know, again, you got to know some of your information. It's out of Detroit. You see it's produced by Popcorn Wiley. That's actually Richard Wiley. He wrote this song. He was a producer. He has his own music out as well, too, under, you know, various names. It's the New Holidays. It's just a nice cult Northern Soul classic. But again, $225. I paid $1 for it. So can't complain in there. Again, I play stuff like this to test this one. When they cost that high, I always test them. Anyway, here's just a Thai-tack Japanese karate. It was probably a competition like in the 60s or something over there, like a karate championship or something. But, you know, it did sell. I took 22 for this one, I do believe. So, again, you never know what they're worth. I threw a high price on them. They sit for a little while, and then I take whatever. You know, 50 cents or $1 is what I pay for most any of these. I don't remember how much I paid on this one, but it couldn't have been more than 50 cents or $1. Maybe even only a quarter, honestly. Because at certain sales, you can get bags of this stuff for almost nothing. People look up online and see thousands of these up, and most of them don't seem to sell, but you got to get the right ones. Pictorial ones like this are good, or sports-related, which this one is, a karate one. Now, here's a import Juan Carlos Cobian. You've got to know a little something about Latin jazz and things like this. This was a good one. This is a complimentary one on top of it. It's got some staining. It's all there, though, so, you know, it's still sold fairly well. I took 25 on it. I had 45 originally. I marked it down. I had it up for a little while. Again, I don't worry about that. I'm still making 80% or better profit on almost every item I sell. So, you know, that's what I look at. Now, here's a vintage, I believe this is a Christmas card. Yeah, it's a Christmas card, actually. I can't say exactly on the date, but I would gather 1870s or 80s. It's actually a really nice one, blank back. This showed up in a new lot, but you can tell if you know these enough, and you can look down at the bottom and see the Marcus Ward name on there. So I know this is 1870s or 80s. I believe I put 80s on here, but it's in that range right there. It's a very lovely cat with a Asian-inspired theme, like a Japanese rice umbrella, a sake vase kind of thing, some broken stuff that the cats must have knocked over. But it's rather interesting. I took 50 on it. You know, who knows? I got $1 or less into it again, because this was bought with a bunch of vintage Christmas cards at a scrapbooker's estate. So I look for the scrapbooker's estate for a lot of the paper items. Just FYI, I've said that before. You know, there's not much competition either, so a lot of people buy stuff just to scrapbook. They don't think about value or how old something is. They just don't know how to find it. They don't know how to look up. Most people would have missed that Marcus Ward down on the bottom. Bottom left, you probably are looking now and it might be hard to see, but it is there. Next one here. This is just a little, like a poster stamp. This came out of a poster stamp collection that I bought. It was a binder in a shelf on a bookshelf at an estate sale not too long ago. You know, so I just snagged them all up. They weren't any fancy ones, so I just assumed that I'd get something out of them, and as always I did. More than made my money back in just a couple of the items, and I've got hundreds more to sell. I took 15. Again, I marked it up 3 times what I expected, 10, 15 bucks on average, because it's got damage. But I did sell it for 15. Now, I believe this one showed up with some Continental, the big size postcards, the 4x6s. It's blank back. It's just like a scene card of people on bicycles. No idea what it was used for. Again, this stuff just shows up. These are probably freebie promotional from some dealer. It could have been a bicycle shop that gave this out even, because everyone on the shot is on a different type of bicycle. Tandems, big wheels. There's a penny farthing, you know, the 2-seater, the rear wheel seater, a double person rear wheel seater. So, you know, these are just an interesting one. I think it was $38.50 on this one. So again, paper all the time. Now this came out of a different collection. This is actually like a poster stamp. It's only 1.5 inches, 2 inches or so in size, 1.5 inches by 2.5 inches, and I still took 10 bucks out of it. Again, we're getting down there, so I'm just trying to show you kind of a mix here. This one I sold for $27.80, I believe the total price was. Now I should have wrote that it was Stanley in there. Look that up if you're not sure who Stanley was. So, you know, it's an old saying. You know, there's a lot of things tied to that. I don't like to give away everything. Look up some stuff. Rather interesting anthropomorphic hippos on here. This one averages 8, 10, 15 bucks at the most. I got almost 27 out of it. I think it was $26.80 out of this one here. So again, I don't really worry about what other people sell them for, because people just don't look that stuff up when they're buying it. Or there could have been even some right this minute if you go and look at comps, or even current ones that might have been up for a lot less than this. Somebody sees it and it piques their interest and they'll buy it without thinking about it. So that's how the game works. Another roller skating label. I sold quite a few. I just threw one in here. 15 bucks as always. Nothing fancy. This one sold $17.50 right off the bat. Refugio Beach Park. Again, I look for the oddball ones. This is a chrome. This is a new one. This is 50s, late 50s, early 60s probably. I don't get scared off by chromes if they're from the right area. Most chromes are just junk. I'm just telling you right off the bat. Most chromes are junk. But California, non-big cities, little small towns, little quaint areas, stuff that doesn't exist the way it did, because California is huge in population these days compared to how it was then. So anyway, $17.50 right off, sold within, say, 2 or 3 hours of being up. This was up for a little while. It was in really bad condition. I paid 50 cents for it. I think I think it was even had some damage. Yeah, it's got some damage to the cardboard even. You see what the condition is. But I paid 50 cents a piece. I bought 4 or 5 of these. I think this is the last one that I had, actually. And I did sell this one for, yeah, it was $10 on this one, plus they paid postage. So, you know, 80% profit is always, again, or better. And the last item, another label. This one did sell for $18.50. Actually, no, I'm sorry, $17.50 on this one here. But, you know, who cares? I've got 50 cents or $1 into this. I buy these in bulk. It's got some damage, so, you know, I wasn't upset. I could have sold a little better if that corner wasn't cut. And there's a tiny little rip above the S of fast on the very top left. So, again, this is just typical what you see, used, unused, or not. You know, they're still very good items. So that's what I have for you today. Hopefully that gave you some thoughts and some ideas. Hopefully you enjoyed looking at the interesting items. I love looking at this stuff. I love talking about it. So for me, this is a win-win all the time. So anyway, that's what I have for you. Well, there you go. There's some items that we sold. Hopefully that gives you some ideas and some thoughts on it. Again, we sell in many different categories on many different sites. This is just the one store we have on eBay. We don't share the other ones, but hopefully that gave you some information on that, and hopefully it was helpful for you. I appreciate you watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified when we post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell a friend.